when a lot of grantors are asking about impact, they want the devastating stories. And I think absolutely we need to replace buildings that have been lost and remove mud. But there's another sector of impact too that is not so considered.
Everyone here is a community connector, a hub for their community in the space, and it's so important. We all share a lot of commonalities in our goals. We all have a lot of the same struggles, and we really just wanted to bring you guys together so that we can continue to shore one another up.
How was Helene for your organization? How were you impacted in ways that you feel comfortable sharing?
The hurricane had us closed for over 3 months. We lost all of our inventory. We weren't really sure if we were going to be able to reopen. Lamplight's been a huge help in helping us take another step and a little more oxygen in the tank. So, yeah.
We had a 4 feet of water in our space and throughout our building, and drywall, mud. While we were closed, we were able to kind of rethink what we wanted to do moving forward, and with the help of Lamplight.
We were supposed to have a art opening on September 27th at Black Mountain College Museum. And so that was like the first sort of like, whoa, okay, we're not doing that.
We were stuck at our house for about 5 days before we could get out. And we got out, and the studio was still there, which was a relief. But it was really hard because everybody else around us had taken a lot of damage. And so the neighborhood as a whole, the community as a whole, was really impacted. And so it was like, well, what should we be focused on?
The flood obviously set us back financially in a huge way. We started work right away on the building. After the flood, just dug a path to the school on the island and just started cleaning up, and with the help of countless hundreds of volunteers, and we have volunteers in there right now scraping plaster off the auditorium walls.
A lot of our vendors lost products as a result of the storm, and many are sitting on products that they could not move because there was no Goombay. And I don't know, there's something about the tribe that was demolished by the storm. That impact of not being able to see people who look like me on the everyday so I can function in this place. That's devastating. It's a different kind of devastation. So I'm grateful that that's the first thing we did was like, let's get those first Fridays and get people back down here. And the other thing was being able to assist these entrepreneurs and getting raw material so they can start creating again. So our artists can get back to doing the thing that they do and they love and that we need.
We had about 6.5 feet of water in our
6 feet,
building.
3 inches.
You're dealing with insurance and the disaster and volunteers, and is it dangerous to even be in our space working? There were so many different aspects that none of us had experienced before. So having something come through that was super effective and a real financial impact that was relatively simple to obtain.
Lamplight helped us when we were looking at all of a sudden needing a whole lot of money to figure out what we were going to do. It was a good chunk and very user-friendly and great folks to work with.
For this round of grants, the community was dying to help y'all.
Yeah.
Truly. And didn't know how.
Yeah.
And we just created the funnel. Everybody wanted, so I can't tell you how much everybody wanted to help. And they did it all because of the work that y'all already do. They believed in you. And the whole concept was, y'all are the connectors. You're the stabilizers within your community. You're the hubs. You know what your community needs. If you can take a breath, if you can be stabilized, they trust you.
We spoke to some people that do like grant writing professionally before we did it, and they were like, well, of course you have to raise the money and then decide what your grants are going to look like. And we were like, we can't do that.
Time.
Like,
everyone is leaving. I think everybody looked at what was happening here and they said, what do we care about in this town? What do we want? going forward, what do we want to get behind going forward? And I don't think anybody thought, like, we can just hope that they'll stay.
I was wondering if I could stay in Asheville just because my housing situation was no more, as the roof almost caved in. And so I had problems finding housing afterwards, and I didn't know if I could stay in Asheville. Getting the grant definitely secured the fact that Doors of the Garden could survive longer because we had money, and makes me want to be able to stay and support it and be able to flourish.
I was very, very concerned that, like, I was going to lose my partner, and you were able to move every month. I think you were almost
I was moving
place.
from house to house, so it felt like so much.
So getting the grant was just like a really big deal for me as well, because it meant that we could continue doing this, because it's not something I would continue without Lynn, and it also meant we could move forward and host these events that support like only local musicians in the experimental music industry. And those folks don't often get the biggest payouts, but they do provide a lot to the community in the arts world. So getting the grant was just like incredible. It allowed Drones in the Garden to, continue.
What it makes me think about is how important our work is as artists, and what it is that we bring to the communities that we serve in emotional support, creative expression, and community healing. That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, you illustrated that so beautifully, in that what artists do to connect and bring folks together and help process the different situational events, but just wanting to also just sit in deep gratitude for a community who, lost homes, lost people, lost so much, and still dug into their pockets and gave money that likely they didn't even have to give. And I know for Story Parlor, we had a lot of people give us stuff that we know for a fact they were not in a position to be giving to us. And that's how much it mattered to be in the space and to share collectively to keep the arts alive here. And so I just wanted to really name all those folks who were up against a wall but still found it within their resources to pull out more and give more.
It was such a hard time for all of us. And it was such a clarifying time for me to know how grateful I am for this community, to know what I believe in more than ever, and to support that. And really, it was the community came together. We didn't have the funds. We didn't. Everybody from the community wanted to keep y'all here. And it really matters. And I think at a very dark time for me, looking and knowing that y'all are out there, the work y'all doing, was very important for me internally in my heart, because it was tough there for a while. But when y'all are doing what y'all doing, I'm like, okay, we can do this. There's something worth fighting for.
It just caused me to think about and reimagining what my artwork, what our work will look like moving forward, as we, think about the resilience and, us, rebuilding all over again. But how is it going to move our work moving forward? That's what I was thinking about.
That's what came out of the Helene for us at Revolve, was that it wasn't about our silo. It was about creating connections throughout the communities to work together, to know that maybe the way forward, certainly under current situations, is mutual aid, is finding ways to take care of each other first, and knowing that that energy will radiate out to our mutual communities and create opportunities for a lot more people.
Community is the cure, point blank period. Community is the cure for all the times now and moving forward. So we get to be part of the cure moving forward still.
One thing I think that grants don't often achieve is actually like then being that community connector as well. So you're bringing us together, and I'm learning about, things I don't know. There's half the people in this room I've never met before. So thank you for, bringing us together through this grant process.
It's been positive to hear like all the efforts and just to be together here today to see all the work that everybody's put in to maintain their community and like kind of bring people back together, and just being in your space to come back together and kind of hear what other people are working on is inspiring to want to keep working and bring joy back to the community, bring art back to the community, and we've been able to do some of that.
So this is an ongoing relationship. We are here for you to continue to support you, to shout out whatever stuff you have coming up. I do also want to say there are going to be challenges on the way, and this is an incredible community of creative thinkers and folks who have connections that we might not have. So if a challenge comes up, let's continue to support one another. Many of us don't know each other or haven't met before today, but we're all doing the work that matters to all of us. And so going forward, if something exciting happens, share it with us. And if something like, oh man, I really need X, or I can't figure out this one problem, let's continue to go forward in that spirit together.